What's going on, you wild superheroes out there? Your two favorite movie critics are back tonight. I am joined by my best mate over there, Logan Myers. Hello, Logan. Oh, yeah, we are talking about a big summer blockbuster movie. Superman, James Gunn's Superman, just hit theaters this past weekend, had a huge box office opening, and we're here to talk about our experience at the cinema watching Superman.
That's right, David Corn Sweat, not Corn Sweat. Corn Sweat is playing, of course, Clark Kent, Superman in the brand new film. James Gunn taking over DCU, first movie putting out here, and of course, right from the get-go of the film, it definitely has that Gunn vibe to it, touch to it, the music, the everything, the way everything looks, and really introducing all these characters.
It's definitely a James Gunn film. Feels a lot like the Guardians movie, just that same kind of spirit. Even though it's obviously a way different superhero story. In this one, we kind of skip the origin story, which is refreshing because we've seen his origin story like in each and every film. It feels like, especially the last couple that have come out, Superman Returns, and then Man of Steel. We don't need to see that again. We know how he came up and stuff. Even though this movie, deals with his, parents from Krypton and also his birth parents, like you still do see the lore, the things from the comic books, his family and everything. But this one thrusts us right into the action. James Gunn, has a vision for this movie. You can tell from the get-go and the story. He throws them right in. And you get to see Lex Luthor, Nicholas Hoult, as the villain in this film, and you find out what he's doing and why Superman is involved. And this time, in this film, for the first time, Superman has a pet dog, Crypto.
Oh God, I love Crypto. I think most people love Crypto. Is probably the best part of the movie. But really having that dog in the intro of the film, which is really cool, like whistling to the dog, grabbing him, and like taking him in the snow and everything. I just thought it was a really cool addition to the movie. It added lightheartedness to it and fun. And I like how Gunn did that. Modeling after his own dog, I believe it was, for this characters. Of course, we're introduced to the ensemble here. We have Rachel Brosnahan playing Lois Lane, marvelous Mrs. Maisel here, doing a really fantastic job as journalists. Of course, Clark Kent, Daily Planet, working at the Daily Planet, and introducing the rest of the ensemble. But their relationship was really convincing, and I really enjoyed it. With him being the Clark Kent character, moving over to Superman, but him and Lois Lane really had a great relationship and working together, and of course, the romance after hours.
Yeah, for sure. It's pretty phenomenal what Gunn can do with this movie, skipping over like how they met and everything and like putting us right in the middle of their relationship, still a young relationship, but somehow she knows he's Superman already, which is interesting. Like we didn't ever get to see that like meeting and how she found out he was Superman. But that scene in the beginning there, which they showed in a trailer, but was a great scene between the two of them with Corn Sweat's Clark Kent, at their apartment and they're hanging out and she asks if she can interview Superman and he kind of, agrees to it and goes right into a Superman. Like he changes from Clark to Superman, and it's not too obvious. Like he changes his voice, but like the acting was really good, like believable from David Cornsweet. I was really impressed with him in this role. He doesn't do a lot of Clark Kent in this movie. It's mainly Superman. So you don't get to see a lot of Clark, but from that little portion that we did see, I was digging it, and he did a good job. And I thought he was a really terrific Superman. I didn't know too much about him before. We'd seen him in Pearl, and obviously we saw him in Twisters last year. Hasn't had like a huge breakout role before to go by, so like you're kind of wondering, is this Superman going to work? And I think he did a really great job inhabiting this role. Really believable. He's younger. Cavill was like what, like 30s, and he was playing a 17-year-old in Man of Steel. There's just like some unbelievability about the Superman character, and I thought Corn Sweat was pretty damn perfect in this role.
Yeah, same here. I wasn't too familiar. I only saw him in the two movies you you brought up here Pearl and Twisters with a smaller role. He packed on, some muscle for this movie, and I thought he was really convincing to both characters, Superman, Clark Kent. I think he balanced a lot, emotional and what's on the line here. I thought he really kind of switched it off, going back in between these two characters.
Hmm.
And I really thought the ensemble, the supporting cast really elevated him in this movie too. Very made it more believable. Where the other Superman films are kind of silly at times. I thought they did a really great job with everything here. Directing was really fantastic. Cinematography, CGI, visual effects look great. One particular scene towards the end with all these colors was really awesome. I just
Hmm.
love the way that was shot. I was really blown away with this. I went in with really low expectations. Not a huge Superman fan myself. I like Man of Steel a lot. But this one, I was like, man, do we really need this? Yeah, it was a fun time at the movie theater. Great summer blockbuster. Go in, kick back, relax. You'll have a fun time with James Gunn, and I think he really did a great job with this film. I was impressed walking out. I slept on it and really had a good time with it. It's a movie I would definitely rewatch too. That being said, I'm going to give James Gunn Superman. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. David Corn, sweat, hair pieces.
You talked about that supporting cast. You're right. Everybody's cast perfect. Everybody really fits into their parts. I loved Wendell Pierce as Perry White. At the Daily Planet. It was cool seeing him. I mean, he doesn't have a lot to do, but like he has that stage, that stage presence and really stood out. Loved his character. Rachel Brosnahan as Lois. She did a really terrific job, going by what I know of that character, based on the old Superman movies. I thought she was really great in the role. She felt like she was a real journalist. She can act for sure. Probably, could be up there. I don't know. Margot Kidder, obviously, arguably the best Lois, but she's right up there. That was a great performance for sure. And then you had all the, minor characters. Skylar Gisondo as Jimmy Olsen. I liked how he was like some heartthrob in this, and love that. I love what James Gunn did with these characters. Then you had like a character that we didn't know, or I didn't know anything about anyway. Mr. Terrific, some obscure superhero, and that's what James Gunn really does best. He like has these obscure superheroes that the hardcores know about that I had seen before, and like he puts them on screen and gives them like some really cool scenes to be in. And a couple of Mr. Terrific scenes really stood out. That one in the desert where he came in, that was really terrific and probably my favorite of the movie. I'd have to say just how they did that. But he was really good. Nicholas Hoult was really good as Lex. Like you see his motivations in this, and it's pretty awesome, and he shows that he's dangerous in the film too. I wasn't expecting that when they were playing Russian roulette, not to ruin anything, but really cool scene there. But yeah, is it a perfect film? No, but it's definitely the most enjoyable Superman movie I've seen. I like Man of Steel. That one was really dark though. It was just like, shot dark. Everything was real dark and it kind of gray, grayish green, like kind of feel like color palette. Superman from James Gunn, it's beautiful to look at. It's like you were describing all the pixels during that scene that we were talking about with the like the portal, and then just Superman's colors himself. The red, yellow, and blue suit. Everything popped. Everything on screen really stood out. Love the way that Gunn shot this. Love the musical choices. Loved hearing the John Williams score. Could go on and on. It's has its flaws. A couple plot points felt like we'd seen it. You know, plenty of times before. Some generic villain stuff there, but there are also some surprises along the way and some cool Easter eggs that tease the future too. So I'm looking forward to the next whenever we see Superman, whether it's going to be a solo movie, but he's probably going to show up in everybody else's movie now too, which is cool with this new DC universe that James Gunn is building. This one had to be successful to set that up, and I thought that James Gunn executed it about as perfectly as you could expect him to for his first film in the DC universe. Outside of Suicide Squad, the newly formed with him and his partner, taking over that. So that being said, I am going to give Superman. I too am going to give it a 4 out of 5 Rachel Brosnahan hair pieces.
Yeah, I forgot to bring up Nicholas Hoult, Lex Luthor. This is how I always envision Lex Luthor, like ticking time bomb, crazy, doing all this wild stuff, and behind all
Yeah.
this crazy stuff going on in the movie. I thought he knocked it out of the park. I don't think there's ever been a role that, I didn't like him in. He does
Mhm.
so much. He does so many different variation of roles, good and bad, and he was had hell of a year last year and this year too so far. So I was really impressed.
Mhm.
Anyways, want to hear from all you wild superhero enthusiasts out there. What did you like about Superman? What didn't you like about it? What's your favorite flick of the summer season, summer blockbuster season 2025? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to stamp subscribe. Also, check out these wild uncles on Facebook, X, and Instagram, and our website, Cinephellas.com, for latest, greatest TV, movie news and reviews.
So thank you guys for watching our review of James Gunn's brand new Superman. I can't wait to see the character show up again. Supergirl is coming up next. Movie screens, anyway. We're going to have Peacemaker Season 2 coming out to HBO Max a little later this year, I think towards the fall. So we're going to be getting that. And yeah, James Gunn said that Superman's going to show up in other projects. He hasn't even confirmed, another Superman movie at this point. So really building up the universe. Really strong first movie, like I was saying. And that cameo was pretty cool, seeing a character that we're going to be seeing. And I like what they're doing with that story. It seems pretty cool. But we both had a blast with this. This was perfect summer blockbuster entertainment. A definite winner, made a lot of money, so that's good. I'm glad it was successful. Can't wait to see what Gunn does, coming up with his next movies and shows. Clayface, that's really one that I'm looking forward to. And of course, you are with Flanagan being involved
Flanagan,
writing it. And yeah.
yes, that movie's one of my favorites from the cartoon back in the day, so I'm
Mhm.
very excited for Clayface.
So thank you guys for watching our movie review of Superman. Until the next Cinephellas movie review, I am Uncle Henry Gizondo.
And I'm Uncle Wendell Pierce signing out till the next movie review.